Hi, everyone. This is your VP of Membership with the ATD Eastern Pennsylvania Chapter. My name is Jenna Thompson, and I have with me Corey Baldwin from Victaulic. Welcome, Corey. We're glad to have you with us.
No, thanks for having me, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. So I'm anxious to hear about your background and where did you grow up?
I grew about outside St. Louis, Missouri, in a town called St. Peters, which was about 30 minutes west. So born in the Midwest and eventually made my way out here towards the East Coast.
Wow. Okay. So tell us how you got out to the East Coast from Missouri?
Sure, yeah, it's usually either a job or a girlfriend or a spouse, right? And for me, it was a combination of both. I ended up going to school at the Citadel, which is located in Charleston, South Carolina. And it was there I met my now wife, Jessica, who's actually born and raised outside the Lehigh Valley.
Oh, very nice. Okay. And you reside in the Lehigh. Where do you reside now?
Just about an hour outside the Lehigh Valley, maybe about 45 minutes in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you said you went to the Citadel. So what prompted that decision and how did you get there?
Sure. I always had an interest in joining the military after high school. And my dad, he was a career Marine on the enlisted side. And he encouraged me to where if I was going to serve in the military, to do so as an officer. And I thought to best prepare myself and had those experiences leading up to it, going to a military school would best prepare me for being able to lead Marines. Ended up selecting the Citadel, went there on a 4-year scholarship, and then subsequently, upon graduation, commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps.
Very nice. Very nice. And thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So tell me about what you studied. I know you didn't just stop with your bachelor's degree. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. After I graduated and then transitioned out of the military, I spent 4 years on active duty. And ended up making a transition into corporate America. And that's really where I first linked up with Victaulic, was at my first hiring conference, which I think of it as, speed dating with companies. I think I did 14 interviews in 2 days.
Oh, my.
Victaulic was one of those companies. But it was really after I joined Victaulic and I developed an interest and passion within the organization development space. And so started researching different master's programs and found one through Penn State that offered a Master of Professional Studies in Organization Development Change. And looked at the course catalog, and just about every single course was a topic or an area of interest where I felt I could directly apply within my role at Victaulic. And that's really what sold me on the program.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay. So tell us a little bit about where you started at Victaulic. What were you doing? Because you were doing something a little different than what you're doing now, correct?
I was, yes. So to really speak towards my start with Victaulic, I'll back up just a bit and talk about my first role outside of the military. As I mentioned, that hiring conference I attended, Victaulic was one of the top 3 companies that I interviewed with. Each candidate kind of rates 1 through 15, the companies that they're most interested in. And Victaulic was certainly in my top 3. Timing just didn't work out in terms of when the offer was extended. And I ended up actually going with another company. And I was with that company for about a year. And that is actually where I learned a lot about what I did and what I didn't want to do within corporate. Because at that time, I wasn't quite sure. I'd spent the last 8 years in uniform, preparing to lead Marines and then leading Marines. And then after that, I had an idea, but wasn't quite sure. And it was really within that first company to where I was, I guess, dissatisfied, maybe was a good word, or maybe I saw the opportunity within corporate leadership development and the need that I felt existed with being able to help support and develop leaders within the corporate space. And I did a little research and found out that, wow, it's actually a pretty big industry. And I was like, you know what, maybe that's where I want to grow, is within that training and development umbrella. And when I started with Victaulic, it was an opportunity to serve in the capacity of a training leader, supporting our sales and customer training efforts. And from there, just really kind of reinforced my passion, excitement for training and development, helping employees kind of develop new skills and being able to apply those skills in order to really better themselves and help them accomplish their goal, whether it's to be more successful within their role or within their career. I was in that position for a couple of years and then had the opportunity to take on a greater role in the talent management space, supporting our global sales team.
Very nice. One question comes to mind, and I know many have approached me with this question, so I'd be interested to see what you had to say.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that would like to break into this field that do not have experience in this field. So when you got out of active duty with the military, and you applied for that first position, what types of things did you do, and what did you share on your interview when they were looking at your background and your experience?
I was fortunate enough to have a variety of training experiences within my time in the military. They have what they call collateral billets or duties that you're responsible for. So in addition to being a platoon commander, which is overseeing 40 Marines, you also will have additional billets assigned to you, whether you're a non-lethal weapons instructor, for example, and then a foreign weapons instructor was another certification that I held. So I did have the background and experience, specifically looking at running structured programming in regards to training on a new skill or topic, and then seeing that actually applied on the back end. But in addition to that, too, I think being able to demonstrate competency within a lot of those qualities, those skills and behaviors that might not be specific to training, but have a very strong parallel, whether it's communication skills, program or project management background or experiences, and then also being able to maybe connect and adapt or flex your behaviors in a way to where you can be confident in front of a group of people, but also adapt and adjust based off the needs of the audience or those individuals that you're working with. My recommendation or thoughts around what individuals could do if they don't have direct training experience but are looking to make that transition, to really take a look take a deeper look into what makes a great trainer. People that you've worked with within the training space that you thought that they did a favorable job with delivering a content, making sure that you understand, and really helping you create a plan to apply those skills or behaviors on the back end. What about that individual really connected with you, and what are ways that you can look for and building or showcasing that you do have those experiences with your background?
I think that's some really good advice, and I think that is applicable across the board. If you're looking to change careers, I think that's something that can be done. I have another question for you.
Sure.
When you were applying for these positions and looking to transition into civilian life, so did you run up against the issue where you were a number on the computer? Were you applying, on the internet at that point? How were you getting your interviews? You mentioned a conference that you went to.
Right. I was very fortunate in that I recognized that I wasn't going to continue to serve after my initial 4 years. When I was about 1 year out, I had very focused intentions on working with a transitioning firm, military transitioning firm, which is recruiting agencies that really focus on partnering with transition military. Mm-hmm. And they just don't align you with interested companies. They actually put together workshops, whether in person or virtual, that help prepare you and train and educate you on how to interview, how to structure your resume to where it reads in corporate language and not military jargon, which is a challenge, because you speak a language for 4 to 8 to 20 years, and sometimes it's become second nature. Mm-hmm. So I had the opportunity to prepare for about a year before I transitioned with a company called Cameron & Brooks, which they were just incredible in helping me make the transition itself. They are the the company that actually set up the hiring conferences, and afforded me the opportunity to interview with several companies within a 2-day period. And very fortunate that two of them, the top two that I had, showed interest in me and pursued follow-on interviews to where I had the opportunity to make that transition. So I didn't have to face the challenge that a lot of veterans, a lot of individuals, non-veterans face, and applying for a job through LinkedIn or any other job board such as Indeed or a company website, and then running the risk of not having actual human eyes on your resume. Mm-hmm. That can be daunting. That can be extremely nerve-wracking and challenging. And I'm certainly empathize with individuals that have to take that path. I was very fortunate in the fact that I had a partner to help me shake hands and actually sit in front of people to tell my story as to why I feel I would be a good fit for their company.
Do you think it would benefit people to think outside the box? Do you think there's value to that if they're job searching right now?
Absolutely. I don't think that there's any, stone that should be left unturned. And I forget the statistic, but I remember reading an article to where if you even have some form of connection to where you have a colleague or a friend that has worked with somebody in the past, to where you can at least get them a copy of your resume, or looking for the individual who posted the job and shooting them a private message on LinkedIn, having that opportunity to where they actually get to see your face and your profile and spark a bit of curiosity and maybe what your background is. I've had several friends and colleagues that have found success with doing a little bit of researching and finding out, who's in HR within the company that the job's posted, and reaching out through LinkedIn, just expressing your interest, letting them know that you applied through the formal channels and that feel you'd be a great fit and you're excited for that opportunity to tell your story and showcase that you have the skills and the background where you can really add value within that organization.
Well, Corey, we appreciate your feedback. My goodness, it's so, if you're not aware, Corey, we haven't discussed this yet, but you are the Senior Manager of Training and Development. Is that correct at Victaulic?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so we're getting an insider view here.
Peek behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Hold the curtain back.
So tell us about your position at Victaulic, what you do now, because you're not doing now what you started out doing for them. Correct.
It's an extremely exciting time right now to be a training and development professional at Victaulic, because I would say that we really are at our infancy stage of what type of programs and initiatives that we can put in place in order to equip all of our employees with the knowledge, skills, and ability to help them be more successful and also kind of grow their careers from a professional development standpoint. The focus over the last couple of years has actually been designing and implementing what will now, here in a few months, be 3 separate global leadership development programs that are focused on 3 levels of leadership within the organization. And they build off of each other. And so it creates a shared language and expectation for what does leadership sound and feel like within the organizations, and how do we hold each other accountable for that set of behaviors and skills that we now expect from all of our leaders as well as employees across the globe. So that's been a very exciting last few years working on those initiatives.
Is there something this year that you'll be working on that's new that you're looking forward to? Is there anything that you're focusing on, laser focused at this point, or?
There is, there's actually what's, our biggest problem right now at Victaulic from a training and development standpoint is how we want to prioritize those initiatives that are on the back burner. We have a lot of exciting programs as well as column initiatives that we have the intentions to roll out and execute, but we want to make sure that it's done the right way and in the right order. Currently, we're working on, I mentioned the leadership programs that we have recently rolled out that targets 3 different levels of the organization globally across all 5 of our regions. Well, really what creates the common thread, sets the foundation for each of those programs, is a leadership framework that we refer to as direction alignment commitment. Well, if you're not attending one of those programs, DAC, as we call it, that the framework is not going to be common language. You're not really going to know or understand it. Right now, we're focusing on how do we communicate and roll out the DAC framework to all employees at all levels. Therefore, we have that shared language of what the successful outcomes of leadership are. And that's when a group can successfully generate a shared direction. There's alignment amongst the members of that group in terms of coordinating work and who has what responsibilities and how they tie to the greater goals or objectives. And then has that commitment, right? That employee engagement, those individuals that truly are inspired by the company, they want to be there, they're at their best because they're engaged, and we know through studies and research, right, results in better performance. That would be an initiative that we're currently working on right now that I'm very excited about, and that's being championed and supported by our top levels of leadership, to include our new CEO, Rick Bucher.
That's great. That's phenomenal. And I love standardization when I see it, because it's very hard to achieve and then maintain, in my opinion.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's amazing and wonderful when a company decides to do that. So have you started a pilot group with this yet? Or
we are still very much in the design phase. But the way that we're looking at it is really, it's going to look and feel more of a journey, a multi-year journey, because first step, if we're almost approaching as a change management initiative, leveraging the pro-size ad cart model of, first and foremost, let's generate awareness. Let's get people curious and have them become aware of direction alignment commitment, to where when we do start having training and development programs and courses to help equip them with new skills and behaviors to be successful with generating direction alignment commitment, they already have a foundation. They've already seen it. They've heard it. They see it in the hallways. They hear it from their leadership chain. They hear it within their department. They hear it from Rick at his global town halls that he conducts. That way, it's just we're building that interest, we're building that curiosity, and it starts to become a really common language that people are used to seeing and hearing.
Mm-hmm. Becomes the way of life at work, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So phase 1, if you will, if we call it phase 1, is really just focused around generating awareness for our global employees.
That really sounds wonderful. And I think we'd like to, if it's okay with you, we'd like to follow back up with you after some time has passed and hear how it's going and what you're doing, because I think many companies can benefit from hearing, what your journey has been like and the different things that you've done to accomplish the goal.
Sure. No, that would be great. And, I'm very fortunate that we have that top level leadership support and buy-in. I know a lot of us that are in the training and development space, we know that a successful recipe, that's probably the primary ingredient. We got to make sure that our senior leaders are championing these initiatives, these programs, and very fortunate at Victaulic from both our leadership development efforts, but then also our sales and customer training efforts. We have a very strong connection and partnership with our senior sales leaders.
Nice.
through a sales training steering committee, to where we design and implement and provide feedback loops and improve on all sales and customer training initiatives, shoulder to shoulder with our senior sales leaders. And that by far is what makes it successful. That's
great. This is just great to hear and very encouraging. I think folks will enjoy hearing about this. So I have one last question for you, actually two.
Sure.
What recommendations do you have for other training and development professionals? I had originally said to you, you know, in a post-pandemic, if we can say that, but also what would you recommend for those who are in a position like yours, but maybe they don't have the buy-in from upper management?
I think first and foremost, we need to be adaptable. We need to be nimble with where we're at right now, coming off of the pandemic. If we are on the back end of this, to where a lot of the businesses have changed, dynamics have changed, and we need to make sure that we're meeting our stakeholders and our customers where they're at. So whether that's truly listening to understand, I think that oftentimes we will get requests to provide training, and we're not asking maybe the right questions to gain clarity on what outcomes they are looking for, what problem are they actually trying to solve, and what do they want to see as a result of this training, to really help them and partner with them to be a true, I refer to it as a learning and development partner. That's it's what we have two on our team here at Victaulic, and it's the same concept as an HR business partner, but they're partnering with their business to really best understand what are their pain points, what are their individual department goals and objectives, and where are the gaps. And if it's training, then let's work with them, partner with them, provide a training solution. But oftentimes it may not be training. It may be a process issue. It may be a resource constraint. Let's help uncover that through our knowledge of just having that understanding with needs assessments and discovery phases of working to put together a solution. So I think, being nimble, listening to understand, and then I'm really big on focusing in on post-training follow-up and reinforcement. I've always thought that our jobs as training and development professionals, I think that the stage of preparing and then the engagement phase, so when you're actually conducting the face-to-face training or the virtual training, the exchange and transfer of a new knowledge or skill, I think that's the easy part, right? Because we have so much control and we have so much time to prepare and apply resources. But creating a culture and creating a framework and setting the conditions on the back end to where those new skills and behaviors are galvanized, they're reinforced within that individual, and they have the opportunity to get what I call at-bats, repetitions. It's modeled and supported by their direct manager, and the type of behaviors and skills are rewarded and in a sense celebrated, right? The what's in it for me appeal for that individual. And then really big at Victaulic, focusing on really creating a coaching culture, leveraging peer-to-peer coaching to help you break out of your box of thinking and challenge individuals, support them through asking effective questions and helping them self-discover a new insight to where the solution is their own, and you co-create new possibilities through working with a peer-to-peer coach. That's really the where I say I think that we have the most opportunity within our industry. Is, could you imagine if we applied just as much time, effort, and resources on setting the conditions on the back end of training? Because I think that's where we add value to the business. It needs to be more than a shot in the arm. I attended a 2-day workshop. We've got to continue to be vigilant, be curious, and exercise thought leadership for ways that we can partner with the business to better impact what it looks like on the back end.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the application of what you're learning, if it's not applied, then I think it's just wasted and a missed opportunity for many. So I think that's great. It also sounds to me like, listening to you, that really, if you have a goal in mind, yours is not the most important, but you have to think of the other party or person first to determine what their goal might be. So in some sense, maybe in a lot of ways, you're putting others before yourself in achieving the goal.
Certainly, we try to instill a mindset within our training and development team as to what's best for our customer. Like Victaulic in general, we're very customer centric. We want to make sure that we're providing product solutions for them, our customers, to be successful. It's the same as providing internal support as, what is going to help set up our customers, so our stakeholders, our employees, with the most opportunity to be successful. And it sometimes is difficult because it's, the confirmation bias is we know what we know and our first impressions and what we want to recommend because we're experienced within it. We've done our research, and we feel that it really might be the best application, the best solution. But if we can't bring those stakeholders, our customers, along, then really it's, we're spinning tires. We're just kind of spinning tires in the mud. And I forget who said it, but I love that saying. Business doesn't do what science knows. So we got to make sure that we're partnering as closely as we can with the business, understand, develop our own business acumen, because that's only going to help us be more successful in providing that level of support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Corey, this has been a great interview. I think many people are going to enjoy this and perhaps may want to get in touch with you. Is there a way that people can connect with you, other training and development professionals?
Yes. And in fact, I would welcome that. I think a lot of times the best ideas come from brainstorming with your peers and scrimmaging around different projects that you've worked on, what worked well, what didn't work. There might be individuals out there that have solutions to issues that, I'm running up against, and it would be great to connect. Feel free to search for me on LinkedIn, connect, and you could also reach me through email at corey.baldwin@bigtolic.com. And again, more would welcome to have a conversation with any of our peers out there to brainstorm and to share best practices and ideas.
That's great. I think there'd be great value in that. Corey, thank you so much for sharing with us, and I look forward to following up with you in the future. Thank you.
Sure. No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.